Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is like a multidisciplinary shopping mall. You enter and you get anything you want. See? As is our training, so is our perception. This is the rule. Once it happened in Allahabad, India, many years before, sometime in 1930s. There was a big gathering where they were talking on Gita. Many great masters were called on the same stage, and each one was coming and speaking on Gita. Suddenly from somewhere one Avadhuta came. You know who is Avadhuta? Who is beyond the limitations of Varnashrama. He is neither Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, nor he is a Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. He is Avadhuta. And there are no rules and regulations for them. So he straight away walked and took the mic and started telling, why are you struggling? What Gita says? Because your struggle is according to your discipline, how you have trained yourself. See? To understand this, take an example. This example I gave somewhere recently. This happened in Rishikesh. I was walking on the banks of Ganges opposite Sargashram, and there was one child and crying intensely. And there were three ladies. So when I was going and I looked at the child and the three ladies, people think that Swami means they can answer any question. See? Like, one mother told her son, see, you have 100 questions, you ask Swamiji, he knows everything. So when I went to their house for taking food, the child said, Swamiji, what is a beauty parlor? Because Swamiji knows everything. So when this question was asked, the mother became angry. Don't ask stupid questions. I said, look here, Mama, you only told him. Swamiji knows everything. So he asked the question, what is a beauty parlor? Then I told him, beauty parlor is that cutting saloon where instead of the gents, the ladies start cutting their hair. It is called as the beauty parlor. Nothing different. So, these three ladies were watching that child was crying strongly, and I was simply watching the whole tamasha. That's my fun. My life is just a time pass. I have nothing to achieve in this world, nothing to regret, nothing to gain, nothing to lose. This is the heart of Bhagavad Gita. So, they asked me, Swamiji, why the child is crying? I said, I don't know. You tell why the child is crying. So, first lady told, she was a mother. For every mother, the child cries only for hunger. So, he must be hungry, therefore he is crying. Okay. The second one, what is your opinion? She was a doctor. So, a doctor cannot think health. They think only diseases. Because they are not at ease. Therefore, they like disease. You know the prayers of all the doctors? Sarve bhavantu rogina. Otherwise, they will become the most miserable one. So she was a doctor and she started saying, I think the child must be having an abdominal colic. Because that is her training. Then the third lady, I said, Mama, what is your opinion? She was a social worker. And you know who is a social worker? The one who has failed in his own life, wants to destroy the society, therefore attacks the society, he is called as a social worker. So she started becoming philosophical. I think in our country there are, I said, stop, you will start a big lecture on the small issue. Thereafter, then they said, Swamiji, now you tell why the child is crying. I said, I don't know, but I don't have children. So how do I know why the children cry? Then I said, let us ask the child. Fortunately, the child is there. So we asked the child. I said, my dear child, why are you crying? He said, nothing, time pass. Now tell me, these three educated ladies, what they said is the truth, or what the child said is the truth? See, in the same manner, what Bhagavad Gita says, everybody tries to interpret according to their training. See, like a student when he goes to medical college, before he goes to medical college, he looks at the human beings, people. After he comes out of the medical college, he starts looking at the patients. He doesn't see human beings because his vision has completely changed by the training. In the same manner, when we talk about Bhagavad Gita, everyone has trained himself or herself in a particular discipline or way of thinking. If it is Lokmanya Tilak, who has written commentary on Bhagavad Gita, he will say, Bhagavad Gita talks about only karma, karma, karma. And if it is a devotee, he will say, no, Bhagavad Gita said only devotion, devotion, because that is his training. And all of us, what we do, we try to prove how I am right by quoting Bhagavad Gita. See? Because my point has to be made. And therefore, like the devil quoting the scriptures, we quote to make our point. Then if there is somebody, a yogi, you know who is a yogi? Who believes in twisting the body, not straightening the mind. For no reason, they'll keep on changing here and there and the whole setting becomes upset. So, for them, if you ask what Bhagavad Gita says, Shuchau deshe pradhisthapya sthiram asanamatmanaha natyuchritam nati nicham chailajina kushottaram tatraikagram manakrutva. They will say Bhagavad Gita is only yoga, yoga, yoga. See? And you ask the jnani, then they will say, look here, nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram yahavidyate. So, what is the heart of Bhagavad Gita depends on who is telling. See? If a sannyasi has to say, sannyasi will say, Bhagavad Gita is not meant for any Tom, Dick and Harry. You have to be a sannyasi. Because he has to make his point. A grahastha, he will never agree. These sannyasis are jealous of us. Therefore, they select us. See, friends. So, this Avadhut Maharaj who came on the stage in Allahabad, when all the great masters were sitting and they presented their thoughts, that time he said, why you people are unnecessarily splitting the hair? See? Do you know who was Arjuna and who was Krishna? They were friends. See? Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. Sakha, saha khadati iti sakha. Those who eat together in the same thali. Arjuna and Krishna used to eat in the same thali. So, Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue between two friends. And the vocabulary of the friends language is not available in any dictionary in the whole world. See? One father was scolding his son because the father told, "Come on, son, you have to be first in the university. Study hard." So the son said, "Dad, it is impossible." So the father said, "Do you know, in the dictionary of Napoleon, there was no word like impossible." So the son said, "He must have purchased a wrong dictionary." So, the meaning of the words between the friends, you don't get in any dictionary. There was one boy who came on a motorcycle to his friend's place. And the moment he came, right in front, the daddy of that friend was standing. And you know, all daddies are Hitlers. So, he saw, "Oh God, this Hitler is standing. Now how to take my friend?" He said, "Hi uncle, how are you? I was going for the physics tuition. Ashok wanted to come. I don't know whether he's already gone or not. I thought, let me go and check. If he has not gone, I'll take him. If he has gone, very good. I'll see him there." No, he's still there. "Ashok, see, your friend has come. You have to go for the physics tuition. Go with him." So he took his bag, sat, and they went straight away for My Fair Lady. Now, in which dictionary you get the meaning physics tuition is equal to My Fair Lady? See, friends, Bhagwan Sri Krishna and Arjun, they were friends. So the heart of Bhagavad Gita is, first, be friendly with Bhagwan Sri Krishna, then be friendly with Bhagavad Gita. See, in the 4th chapter, Bhagwan says, "Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatparaha sanyatendriyaha." Whenever we take up anything for studies, the first requirement is Shraddha, blind faith. Faith has to be blind. See, many people have got this funny notion. There are 2 seats waiting for you, gentlemen, here. 2 seats are just waiting for you. Okay. You will not be contaminated. Why you wanted to sit and sleep there? So, Shraddha is inner strength by which we jump into a kingdom of unknown frontiers. That is the only way. See, like we hear every now and then some, accidents in the car or accidents in the trains or hijacking of the planes. We all know. Every day it is happening. But when we sit in the flight, that time, what is that which keeps us that my flight is going to land definitely okay? Who knows? If it goes up and up and up and gone. See? So in the unknown field, in the unknown areas, the inner strength is called as Shraddha, and this Shraddha gives us positive thinking. See, in Kathopanishad, the Upan mantra says, Shraddha avivesha saha amanyata. In the second mantra of Kathopanishad, Nachiket is described, Tagamha kumaragam santam dakshinasu niyamanasu Shraddha avivesha saha amanyata. When he saw his dad was distributing dilapidated cows, when he looked at wrong action, he did not become negative in his thinking. Because first of all, Shraddha avivesha. Shraddha is the mother of positive thinking in life. See, we don't know what is going to happen. Yet we keep on going. If somebody has this wrong notion, many people have got, that I don't think I will reach. He will never reach. I don't think anybody has seen God. Whether anybody has seen or not, you will never see. We have to accept that the great master had the vision of God. We may not have. See? So, when we study Bhagavad Gita, the first and the most important thing is we study with extreme faith in every word of Bhagavad Gita. See? Now, what is the disease that is dealt with in Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita deals with a disease called as mamata. There are 3 types of viruses: M1, M2, M3. Mamata 1, Mamata 2, Mamata 3. First mamata is a tamoguni mamata, wherein we hold on to the stones and the bricks, and that is shown in the character of Dhritarashtra. See, Dhrita means held. Rashtra means chair. The one who is holding on to the chair is called as Dhritarashtra. Because only for the sake of the throne, Dhritarashtra was ready to do anything. May the whole clan be destroyed, doesn't matter. But I want my chair. Is it not happening throughout the world? The second type of mamata is Rajasic mamata, wherein these workaholic people, see, their workaholism is so strong that when somebody is sitting quiet, they become angry. Why are you sitting quiet? Do something. Because they can't keep quiet. See, friends. So this is the second kind of mata, and such people, those who are workaholic, they will be working day and night, everywhere, even in the society they will work. And towards the evening of their life, they never have time to look within. They have not discovered fulfillment in their life. See, one elderly man I happened to meet somewhere in India many years before, 30 years before. So he asked me, what do you do? I said, I do nothing, therefore I am a Babaji. So then, who gives you food? I said, there are many fools who give me food. You are very peculiar. I said, manufactured defect. I am like that. Do you think that your Gita is going to help anybody? I said, no. Then why do you give talks on Gita? I said, look here. I don't want anybody to be improved. If all of you become improved, next year where will I go? Let your level of ignorance be maintained. Don't become wise. Continue to be otherwise. Then I had to ask him out of formality that, Babaji, what do you do if you want to protect yourself from an old person and also make the old person happy? Ask him or her about their life and don't listen. They are kept busy. You don't have to listen. Because they want some listener, And there is no better listener than a Swami, freely available. So he started. And as he started his story, I did this, I did that, all kinds of things. And finally, as he was coming toward the end of the story, he started becoming bitter. These people, for them, I have done everything. 50 years of my life. Blood and sweat for them. Today, they are the one who want to kill me. They want to destroy the institution which I developed for them, not for me. This world is like a dog's tail. When he was becoming so bitter, and I don't like bitterness, I like sweet. So I said, Uncle, but the beauty of the dog is in the crookedness of the tail. Imagine a dog with a dish antenna tail. Imagine. It can't be a beautiful dog. In the same way, this world is beautiful as it is. Friends, if you have served sincerely anyone, you can never be bitter towards that person. If you have served. Bitterness comes not because of the service, because of the ego. I have done. Bhagavad Gita tells, the heart of Bhagavad Gita, nobody needs you. See, friends, when we were not in this world, nothing was lacking. When we will leave this world, there will be nothing lacking. If you don't believe me, leave. See, friends. Therefore, our presence also is most uncalled for. See, we all know our parents. Some of us know our grandparents. Few of us may know great-grandparents, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth generation. Do we even think once in our lifetime about them? The same is the story going to happen with you and me. See, friends, but we have the arrogance. Konyosti sadrusho maya, Bhagavad Gita says. Who is like me? I have done this, I have done that. See? The daughter said, iPhone. The son said, iPod. The wife said, iPad. The husband said, I paid. I. How long this I. See, friends. Sukha dukhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsasi. This is the heart of Bhagavad Gita. See? What he says, tato yuddhaya yujjasva. Live on the war footings, ever alert. See, when we are on the war front and the enemy comes from front of us, do we say, excuse me, this is tea break? No, it is no tea break. We can't say, hey, don't come at night, that's not our duty time. During office hours you come. No. You have to be there alert 24/7. And you cannot have any excuse for that. See, if you live like this, tato yuddhaya yujjasva, that doesn't mean fight. Means be alert 24/7. See, friends. Then how do we live in this world? Living on the war footings. Bhagavad Gita tells, remember one principle. The world doesn't need your activities. Then we need to work. It is our need that we do anything in this world. The world doesn't need us. See, take your own examples. Parents need the children or children need the parents? It is the parents who need the children. When they get married, and if there is no child born in 2 years, 3 years, then they start running from post to pillar, and then go to Hanumanji's mandir, then Devika mandir, and then go on tying some threads, and ultimately thread, hang up. So it is our need. As children is our need, in the same manner, all that we do in this world, it is our need. See, like I have come here to talk to you. You may, Babaji has said very big words. That is his duty. But to be very frank, it is my need that I come and talk to you on Gita. Because the more I talk, contemplate, the more I get rooted in this knowledge. See, friends. And when I talk as my need, I will have respect and reverence for you. Because it is my need. Whenever we are needy, we are humble, we are sincere, we are not arrogant. See? One common example, when you go through the immigration to other countries, you stand in front of the immigration officer, you are at your best. Hello, good afternoon, good evening. Because it is your need that you have to enter that country, or else they can just push you out. See, so whatever we are doing in our life, please remember, the world doesn't need us or our activities. It is our need. See, friends. So with this attitude, when we start our life's all activities, then what exactly happens? The three things happen. When we undertake any activity, either we will succeed or we will not succeed. When we succeed, it is a gain. When we don't succeed, it is a loss. When there is a gain, we are happy. When there is a loss, we are miserable. This is called as parampara. This is cause and effect relationship. Sukha dukkhe, joy and sorrows. Labha labho, gain and loss. Jaya jayo, victory and defeat. So whenever you are functioning in this world, these are the only options. Either we will succeed or we will fail. And if because of the success or the failure, we are the gainers or the losers, and because of the gain or the loss, if there is joy and sorrow, now the question is, should we start bumping out of ourselves when we win the cricket match? And if we lose the cricket match, then the same players who come take the same bat and hit them. See, friends, is this life quality? You must have seen in this particular tennis, when they play and if they get a good point, I got it. And the second time they lose, the same poor racket. This is not a human quality of life. See? Therefore, when we function, we have to be equanimous towards victory and defeat. Be very attentive. It's a very subtle thought. People go superficially. Similarly, sometimes we gain, sometimes we lose. This is the game of life. See? But we start imagining, I should gain only, never lose. It is not possible. See? So gain and loss are taken equally with equanimity. Mind is not disturbed. The victory and failure never create any ripples in our mind. And joy and sorrows do not make us joyful or miserable. Therefore, the disease is mamata and the medicine is samata. See? The path of karma, siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Karma yoga ultimately leads us to the equanimity, samatha. Then Ashtanga Yoga. See, Atmaupamena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sa yogi paramo mataha. The one who is able to look upon the world as he looks upon himself because he is equanimous with the whole world. So whether it is a path of karma or yoga, samatvam, the equanimity, samatha is the heart of Bhagavad Gita. See? Then you come to the path of devotion, bhakti yoga. There also, tulya ninda stutir mauni. Somebody will praise you, somebody will condemn you. Today those who are praising you, tomorrow they will condemn you. Today those who are condemning you, tomorrow they will praise you. This is how the law of life is. See, friends, you know, the foundation of this is knowledge. And what is this knowledge? This world is made out of the threads which go crisscross. Nothing in this world exists without the complementary opposite. Health is existing in the complementary opposite of disease. Life is existing in the complementary opposite of death. Poverty exists in complementary opposite of riches. Joy exists in the complementary opposite of sorrows. Friends, enemies. This is how the world is. See, like our cloth. Cloth is made by the threads which go crisscross, is it not? If somebody says, no, I want a cloth where all the threads go in one direction, then take a rope and hang yourself. As in rope alone, all the threads go in one direction. In the same manner, if we are living in this world, accept this basic principle that this is the texture of this world. See, and who does not have problems in this world? Everyone in this world has some or the other problem. See? And when we are thus interacting in this world, living in this world, but your attention is on this equanimity. See? And this equanimity is further deeply thought over by different ways. The equanimity in karma, equanimity means samatha. Equanimity in karma is in our dealings. Because it is my daughter, she is very good. And the other one is my daughter-in-law, so she is very bad. This is a very simple observation. Any woman as a mother is the best, no doubt. Then any woman who is a mother, if she is a mother-in-law of a son-in-law, she is better than the mother. Is it not? It is not goodness toward the son-in-law. It is sympathy. Poor fellow, carrying the load of my creation. Now the same mother, when she is a mother-in-law of a daughter-in-law, Bhadrakali, Mahakali, Kapali, Karali. See? So when we are dealing, karma is in Dharma Shastra. Dharma is karma pradhan. So when we are dealing in the world, that time equanimity at the level of dealings with the people. See? This is the first equanimity. in some place I read one story when Uttara's, the embryo or the baby in her womb was destroyed by the Brahmastra from the Ashwatthama and stillborn. That time she reached Bhagavan Sri Krishna and tells, "Oh Lord, please enliven this. This is the last one in this family, so please help." That time Bhagavan Krishna says, if I am equanimous towards everyone in this world, be they Pandavas or Kauravas, on the strength of that equanimity, the child will enliven and Parikshit becomes enlivened. Therefore, friends, the heart of Bhagavad Gita is function in the outer world, but don't lose the equanimity of mind. See, it's the most important thing. A person who becomes miserable because of anybody in this world, he is the fool of the highest order. Never become miserable because of anybody. Then make others miserable. You don't become miserable. It's important. See, friends, it is so simple. There is none like ours or not ours. It is just a matter of a chance that we are together, or sometime we stay, we go away. Who is going to be here eternally? So whatever short period we have to be, let us lead our life cheerfully and happily, and do not create any kind of disturbances on account of dealings with the people. This is KG1 equanimity. Then the second equanimity is at the level of the mind. This mind equanimity is gained through yoga. See? When Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells Arjuna that practice samatva, so Arjuna says, Yoyam yoga tvaya proktaha sammena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchaladva sthitisthiraam. I don't think it is ever possible, very impossible. Because chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramathi balavadrudam. It is very difficult. Mind is very unsteady. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramathi, very turbulent. Balavad, very strong. Drudam, very obstinate. To such a mind to control, vayoriva sudushkaram. As if I want to control the hurricane. It is not possible. That time Bhagavan Krishna says, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihate. It is possible. Yes, it is difficult. Therefore, the second equanimity is at the level of the mind by the practice of yoga. So whenever we are all by ourselves, observe that you stop talking to yourself. We talk maximum to ourselves. And other people think, what is happening to this fellow? And then we call such people, those who talk to themselves but others cannot hear, we call them sentimental. And those people who talk to themselves but others also can hear, we call them mental. Both are same. There is no difference. So give it a try. Remain little aware that are you talking to yourself? Give it a try. Many of the people, they observe in this Chaturmas or Shravan Mas, Adhik Mas, Maunam. And what is their Maunam? With a paper and a pencil. Get me a cup of tea. Cup of tea comes. Add more milk. What about sugar? Why don't you talk straight away? See? Stop talking to yourself is maunam. Mana prasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha. Mauna is a discipline of mind, not of the speech. The discipline of the speech is anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priya hitam chayat. Same Bhagavad Gita tells. See? Anudvegakaram vakyam. Talk to the people in such a manner that you don't hurt anybody. Talk lovingly. And talk if it is necessary. If it is not necessary, you don't have to talk. See? Therefore, the second equanimity, according to Bhagavad Gita, is practiced through the yoga. And yoga is straightening the mind, not twisting the body. Many of us have got this funny notion. Sitting in one posture is yoga, without movement. Simply sitting in one posture without movement, if that is yoga, all the buffaloes in the world are great yogis. They sit in one posture. Let the truck come. They look at, don't you know I am doing meditation? That is not meditation, that's a cartoon of meditation. See, friends, straighten your mind. And mind can be straightened only by one technique. Remain aware of all the thing that is happening in your mind. Are you talking to yourself? Are you depressed? Are you dejected? Are you angry? Are you lusty? Are you greedy? Observe. See? And for that, various techniques are told in our Bhagavad Gita. One of the simple technique is decide. This I told those ladies in somewhere, I don't know where it was. I said, you want to practice spirituality? Try this. For 1 full year, do not buy any clothes or shoes. Oh God, how can we live? Go in anybody's house. There is no place to hang the clothes, everywhere, And whenever they have to go somewhere, they open that, walk-in wardrobe. And thereafter, they keep, one sari you have to put, and it takes 1 year to decide which one. See? Therefore, watch your mind. There are many things which we unnecessarily gather, not only outside, but also in our mind. Friends, if you can learn the strength of emptiness, then you will discover the real spiritual practice is let your stomach be full, but the head be empty. See, the more you become aware, what is happening? See, at this stage, observe the quality of your mind. You are not man nor woman, neither rich nor poor. Living in this awareness effortlessly 24 hours is the heart of Bhagavad Gita. When Arjuna was crying, Kadam Bhishmamam Sanke Dronam Chamadusudana, that time Bhagavan Sri Krishna speaks, Prahasan iva Bharata. There was a smile on his face. And Arjuna was crying. If you and me were there, what would happen? No, Arjuna, don't cry. Come on, let's also go back. He didn't cry. See, friends, this equanimity is the very heart of Bhagavad Gita. See? When we come to the path of devotion, in this path of devotion, this is the third stage of equanimity. in karma and the yoga, one problem happens, and the problem is that of I. I am not like others, irresponsible. I take care of all my wives, all my children. I am very responsible. I am not like others, I. Yoga, I am not like others. I get up early in the morning at 5 o'clock and then go to sleep. I. As a result, we start thinking ourselves to be holier than thou. We try to think ourselves to be far superior than others. See? Therefore, those who are involved too much in karma and yoga, they are very angry personalities. Because that I is there. Stronger the I, more the anger. See? Lesser the I, lesser the anger. Bhagwan doesn't have I, he has no anger. See? Can you imagine Bhagwan Sri Krishna with a gussa? Cannot be. Ever smiling. See, friends. So this virus of I has to be removed. And this virus of I is removed by invocation of devotion to the Lord. See? And what is the devotion? He who has bhakti in his heart, he is a bhakta. He who has devotion for the Lord, he is a devotee. And who is a devotee? Who does not vote. Like, decentralize. De-vote. A devotee doesn't go to vote in the world. He is with the Lord. And he who in whose heart the Lord is ever shining, he can never have worries about anything in this world. Devotion for the Lord and worries about the world cannot coexist. This quality is called as equanimity. See? Adveshta sarva bhutana maitra karuna evacha. You analyze every quality. It ultimately boils down to only equanimity, samatvam, yoga uchyate. See, friends. Because for a devotee, other than the Lord, none else is. I will compete with you, but I cannot compete with the God. Like the waves can compete with the waves, they can be jealous, there can be success, failure, there can be achievement or non-achievement, there can be joy and sorrows, but the wave cannot compete with the ocean. We, the wave, the individuals, can never have a spirit of competition with the Lord. There, it is the spirit of surrender. See? You know the meaning of surrender? Sar means head. Under means under. Put your head under the feet of the Lord. See, friends, the one who has surrendered to the divine will, he has no questions, no problems of any kind. So whether we are practicing karma in our dealings, samatva, equanimity, samatha. Whether we are practicing yoga, attention is on the equanimity of the mind, samatha. Then whether we are practicing devotion, the ultimate effect is on the equanimity of the mind. See. Now the last and the most simple equanimity is through knowledge. How this is? Take an example. My teeth are other than my tongue. Sometimes when we take food, our tongue gets bitten by our own teeth. It happens sometimes. That time, Will the tongue say to the teeth, come on, you are going to a dentist and I shall remove you? No. Similarly, when the tongue goes and digs something in between two teeth and removes it, and when it is removed, that time will the teeth say, darling, you are so cute, always you help me. See friends, so although the teeth and the tongue are separate from each other, yet there is no separateness in the same manner. The path of knowledge is, we are all expressions of that one reality. See, hands are not legs, legs are not stomach, stomach is not head, head is not the back. Yet, in all the differences, there is one common denominator. The path of knowledge tells us, come to discover. Vidya vinay sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunichaiva shvapakecha panditaha samadarshinaha ihaiva tairjitaha sargaha yesham samme equanimity yesham samme sthitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma equanimity tasmate brahmane sthitaha. Those who are abiding in this equanimity, they are one with the Lord. This is the heart of Bhagavad Gita. See? And to attain this, the first shloka which I told you, the meaning of the shloka in sincerely is only life is a time pass. Don't make it any serious thing in life. Live sincerely, but don't become serious. See, when the Lord says, Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhayo yujjasva naivam papam avapsasi, means what? Treat the victory and defeat equal, treat the gain and loss equal, treat the joy and sorrows equal. If they are equal, then what for we are living? Time pass. See, I'll give an example. This happened in somebody's house. Going to people's house for food is one of my professional hazards. So I went to somebody's house. And when we went there was some time. So that Amma told, Swamini, there is still time, 15-20 minutes. I said, okay, anyway, I have no choice, I have to wait. Okay. Continue. So I thought I read newspaper, but they had a child, 8-7 years old boy. Swamiji, no newspaper. I said, okay, no newspaper. Give yourself zero choice, you will be happiest in this world. Then we'll play carom. No, that dumb game I cannot play. He said, no, Swamiji, we'll play. I said, I don't know how to play. No, I'll teach you. He must be a Vedanti from the last life. After you. So he put the board and we sat. And he was so expert in taking. One after the dice he could take. And I cannot take because I never played that game. So I am from India. Therefore in India there is a technology called a Jugaad technology. See, what cannot be attained straight away, attained crooked way. So Jugaad. Because the rule is very simple. Theft is not a crime unless you are caught. So taking this principle, when I had to play and he is watching me, so I have to ask him. I say, hey, whose picture is that? I had never seen that. So which Swami is that picture? Oh, that picture. When he looks there, I will take out 2-3 and put it. See? The idea is you win. That's the only idea. Once, twice I did, third time I was caught. Then he started crying. Mommy, Swami is a cheat. I said, you have learned it very late. I said, come on, now again we'll start, he will win, okay? I will not do it. And then we started the same technique I used for making him win. And in between, his mother tells, Swamiji, food is ready. I said, hey, forget, let's go and take food. No, we have to complete the game now. Now I am winning. I want to complete the game. Now be attentive. For him, winning or defeated was an issue. For me, it was a time pass. सुख दुखे समय कृत्वा लाभा लाभो जया जयो ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व. See, therefore don't take anything seriously in life. We are here just for a time pass. Your burden will be completely removed. See, otherwise we go on struggling. Whether Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, why only 4 yoga? There are 1.5 dozen yogas. Start from first chapter. Arjun Vishada Yoga now. Tragedy Yoga. How can the tragedy be a yoga? See, Socrates also said tragedy is a yoga. Every man should get married. If he gets a good wife, life is bad. If he gets a bad wife, he becomes philosopher. So, that tragedy of life which turns your mind towards God, that tragedy is not a roga, it is a yoga. Therefore, the heart of Bhagavad Gita is this. Maintain equanimity under all conditions. And when equanimity is maintained under all conditions, we develop a faculty which is called in Yoga Shastra as Ritambhara Pragya. Ritambhara Pragya means intuitive wisdom. Such great masters, they do not live in the matrix of cause and effect. They lead their life beyond the limitations of cause and effect. Because unless the mind is 100% integrated, you cannot contain the reality. Ritambhara. Ritam means the absolute reality. Bhara, bharanam, holding. Pragya means knowledge or understanding or buddhi. That understanding or knowledge or buddhi which can uphold, which can comprehend the absolute reality is called a Ritambhara Pragya. And this can happen only if throughout our life, whatever you are doing or not doing, attention must be on this samatha, equanimity of the mind. See, friends, Bhagavad Gita talks about this in the second chapter. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sayyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. Pashyato munehe. The one whose Ritambhara Pragya is awakened, he is able to perceive the divine presence in and through the relative world. And those who are ignorant, even if God will come and stand before them and tell that I am Krishna, he will say, show your visiting card. Because he is too much preoccupied with the matter, with the world. See, friends, therefore, the heart of Bhagavad Gita is this. Keep your mind in an equanimous state 24/7. See, all these thoughts put together is called as living in meditation. Don't do meditation. Arjuna, this question. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhi kim pravasheta kimasita prajeta kim. What is the meaning of meditation for a man of wisdom? Sthita prajna means steady wisdom. We have wisdom for others. See, wisdom made available for others is philosophy. And philosophy practiced in one's life is called as wisdom. See, after getting married, telling others don't get married is philosophy. By looking at the married people's life, not getting married is wisdom. So what is the steady wisdom? And what is the meaning of meditation for a man of steady wisdom? Then Bhagavan Krishna gives two only things. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmannevatmana tushtaha tita prajnastadochate. He who is abiding in this absolute bliss without any load of desires and at peace with himself and with the whole world. His wisdom alone remains steady. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.